We are also following some developments on crime policies in New York City. After mounting criticism from police and other groups, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg releasing a memo revising two of his most controversial policies. Robberies involving a knife or gun will now once again be treated as felonies. Will this be enough to help the spike in crime? Retired New York Police Department Lieutenant Joe Cardinale joins me now. Great to see you again, Joe. Thanks for being here. Forgive me for being just a little bit skeptical that Alvin Bragg has turned 180 degrees and is now going to be tough on crime. What do you think?
Well, he's going to come full circle and go back to what he originally did. What he's doing is he's picking and choosing. He planned this ahead. He said, well, I'm going to get some kickback on it. So these are the crimes we're going to let them have. And that's what's happening. And it's coming from Albany as well. When you have the bail reform situation and you have his policy put in place and you have, once again, cop killers being released from prison, all right, this is all one big plan for them. So, yeah, he could walk it back all he wants, but he's definitely the one that's going to be the problem with this, because he should be prosecuting all the crimes for all the people all the time.
Well, we just have an example this isn't a cop killer, but one of these young rappers who got smart with a gun, shot a cop, and he was out within a week paying $15,000 cash on a bail certificate, and he's back on the street. He's done this before. I don't know, God forbid, but there is a good chance that he might do it again. So while this DA is talking tough, he's still letting the criminals out on the street.
Well, that's my point. That this guy is actually out on the street. What is it going to take for him to actually kill somebody, whether it be a cop or a citizen, for him to actually be kept in jail? I mean, for God's sakes, he should have been in jail to begin with, and he should have stayed in there. But these policies are letting them out, and the criminals know that, and the criminals brag about it. So, I mean, this is the point in society where we've come today when it comes to policing. It changes every day, and the politicians just camouflage it with their policies, and then they'll come out on TV and they'll sit with the president, and they'll all sit at that one table at one PP, and they'll say, this is what we're doing, and it's just for that moment. Then they get out of the room and they go, all right, back to business as usual. And that's what's happening across America today.
You know, the real crime of it is that prosecutors and cops used to work together. They used to support each other. They had each other's back in terms of trying to crack down on crime and get the criminals off the streets and protect innocent civilians. I mean, it's not rocket science. You're tough on the criminals. You try to protect the innocent civilians. Now we are hearing stories. Maybe you know more about how New York works, and I'm sure this works the same in other places where they have radical prosecutors, that prosecutors are actually changing police reports to go easier on the perpetrators in order to get them on a lower charge. Have you heard anything about that?
Let me tell you something, David. We used to have CompStat meetings, and if one of the commanders changed anything, they were transferred, they were demoted, whatever it took, that's what they had to do. You know, that's what they would do to them. So for the DA, yes, the DA is changing his language for the prosecution, and they're picking and choosing what they want to prosecute. So if there's a gun involved, they're going to say, yeah, but you know what? Let's just tone it back a little bit and push it so it conforms to my policy, and I'm able to let him out with a clear conscience for him. All right. But policing was what you said. Always a 1-2 punch, the DA and the cops together making a case, all right? And it was always that if the DA felt it wasn't enough, he told the cops, we need more evidence, we need to do this, and they would make a stronger case. You can't even present the case to the DAs today, because they're picking, when it gets to them, after you do all the hard work, they're going to say, now I'm declining prosecution. And this kicks back to the governor's office, because DAs have immunity from civil liability. So it would be incumbent on the governor to say, you're not doing your job, I'm taking you out of there. But the governor's on board with them, too. So where do you go for this? You know, you can't go to the federal government, because look who's running the federal government.
Well, I just want to get this in here because the president was in New York this week talking both to the governor and to the mayor about crime. But there are questions about whether he really gets what's going on and whether his whole administration gets what's going on. Jen Psaki, the White House spokesperson, spoke about crime a couple of weeks ago on a webcast. Let me just play that and get your reaction. Roll tape.
on Fox is Janine Pirro talking about soft on crime consequences. I mean, what does that even mean, right? So there's an alternate universe on some coverage. What's scary about it is a lot of people watch that.
She doesn't know what soft on crime means. Do you?
I know what soft on crime is. Listen, Jen Psaki is running a cesspool of ignorance at the White House. All right. She absolutely camouflages and covers everything and sugarcoats everything that's presented to her just to conform to what they want out there for the public. Soft on crime is exactly what you and I just discussed. All the DAs on board, put in there by Soros, and you just go over there and say, you know what, what's going to happen next? Where do we attack it next? You need to fight the crime the way we used to fight crime, not with a political agenda behind it. When the crime is there, fight it. Look what's happening in Chicago. Look what's happening in New York. These numbers are going to continue to skyrocket, and you're not going to get a handle on it until you get the 1-2 punch you need. And the mayor knows what he has to do. All right. He has to distance himself from the people that are telling him, don't do this, don't do that. Let his police commissioner do the job that the police are trained to do and get out there and fight the crime the way we have to. But when they're handcuffed and they're told what to do, and you have an appointed position that could be taken away at any time, you're going to do what this mayor wants, and this mayor is going to do what the political party wants.
Wow. Even though we should remind folks, he is a former cop himself, the new mayor of New York. Hopes were high when he came in that he would get tough on crime, but so far we haven't seen it. The actions haven't matched the talk. Quickly.
I'm starting to think that he forgot about the uniform he wore, all right, because he would never do these things to the cops that he's doing.
Yeah, let's hope he hasn't forgotten. Lieutenant Joe Cardinale, good to see you, Lieutenant. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Anytime, David. Thank you.